RCR1872, a helping hand with your land.
Neil from Messick's here. Today you're going to help me get some work done. My kids have been pesting to put a zip line through this easement over here where this pipeline runs through. We're going to take this MX 5200 and a Land Pride rotary cutter and mow this brush down so that we can do a little bit of work over here and make a fun place for our kids to play. So the first thing we're going to do before we go out and start mowing this area is kind of size up exactly what it is that we need to do. When I drive in here, I've got an area here against the edge of this field where I've got a bunch of sticky woody brush, stuff that's maybe like 1.25 inches around, more or less. And that's something I don't want to drive over top of. You can obviously drive your tractor over top of just about anything, but that stuff, all that big brush is going to spring back up again, potentially hitting something on the underside of the tractor. So what I'm going to do is take the tractor and back over that brush, get it mowed down, and then drive in over top of the briars and other stuff that I need to mow. So I'm going to start my tractor up here, put my seatbelt on, engage my four-wheel drive because it's a little muddy back here. Take my mower and lower it to the ground just a little bit, and then at lower RPMs turn it on. Now when you turn one of these things on, you'll feel some shaking and banging and stuff as the blades come up to speed. I'm then going to raise my RPMs up. These things you can run a little bit slower than other implements. There's no need to have them clear up at 540. And I'm going to back over top of that sticky stuff. And you can see here I've made pretty short work of that. Now as somebody that's not used a rotary cutter before, you get a little disturbed by these things, by the banging around and stuff that happens as those big blades are running over the sticks and chewing things up. That is the nature of using this kind of equipment. It's not like mowing your grass when you go out and start running over trees. They're gonna make noise, they're gonna grind and bang on stuff. They're going to shake around as they chew these things up, but you can see here is slowly working back and forth and just pushing the deck into these, and I'm slowly grinding up these little trees. Now, like I said, it's best to approach these in reverse. Anything that can pop up and nail the underside of your tractor, if you can back over it and mow it first, you're going to be better off for it. Now this tree back here behind me, that's pushing 2 inches around. To me, that's something I'd rather cut off with a chainsaw first rather than trying to mow over top of it. You know, technically this mower is heavy enough in order to do that, but I take a little bit more care than that. You can see here when I'm pushing against these things, the rotary cutter is moving behind the tractor a little bit. When I set up my 3-point hitch, I don't want to rigidly mount my rotary cutter onto the tractor, so I keep my turnbuckles loose or my sway bars in the sway position so that the mower is able to move as it bounces against things. I don't want it rigidly back there where it's going to put weird forces and stuff on the tractor as I back into things. So a little bit of flexibility in your implement when you want it to be able to bounce off of things can be achieved by adjusting your 3-point hitch properly. got the woody stuff knocked down, I'm gonna work through the briars over here. I don't have any trees and stuff sticking up here like I did before that I've got to worry about popping up into the underside of the tractor. That said, I don't really know what's in here. I've never mowed this before. So I'm gonna take my loader and lower my loader down so that if there's a stick or a rock or something like that in there, my loader's gonna hit that before it hits, say, the axle or the underside of the tractor somewhere. So we're kind of use that loader to defend the tractor as I'm gonna mow over top of the rest of this. So gonna do the same thing. I turned my mower off, so we're gonna come down to lower RPMs, turn the mower on, bring the revs back up again. And I'm gonna run faster this time to get up to 540 because I want this really shredded up and not just knocked down. We're just gonna make zigzag passes back and forth over top of these briars, just like you were mowing your lawn at home. Now I've got a big stump over here, so I'm just gonna lift the 3-point up. Let the mower over top of the stump so I don't hang it up. When using a rotary cutter, I often find myself kind of letting my hand ride on the 3-point hitch lever because I'm going to lift this thing up and down as I go back and forth, and you know, if the mower really contacts something hard, I'll often float it up a little bit to get up and over top of the obstruction or whatever it's grinding down there. This is littered with groundhog holes. I had no idea they were all in here. For a height here in the back, I have this set basically the whole way down because I want to get as close to the ground as possible to grind this up and finish it off as well as I can. If you were mowing, if you're mowing pasture grass or something, you might want to leave it a little higher so that you don't burn the grass out. The biggest surprise to me in here is we're going back and forth is all the groundhog holes. They're a little hard to spot because they're underneath the brush, and when I hit one and my wheels drop down in, my mower starts to bottom out a little bit. And that kind of happens with these things. You end up scalping the ground and stuff a lot, but that's not the point of this mower. We do see a lot of people want to buy rotary cutters like this. and thinking they're going to use them for finish mowing and that kind of stuff, and that's not what this thing's all about. It's rough, it's crude, it's to grind stuff up and knock it over, and not necessarily to give you some kind of like finished lawn-like cut. So don't think that you're going to take a big deck mower like this out into your pasture and make it look like your lawn. That's not really how this thing works or what it's made to do. You know, it's rough, it's crude, it bangs around, it grinds things up and spits it out the back, you know, and it's a cleanup mower, not a finish mower. So if you've never run a rotary cutter before, hopefully that'll give you a little bit more of an idea of what the experience is like. It's a really good tool for getting a lot of this rough, crude, heavy-duty work done quickly. This area right here is probably about 1/3 of an acre that I just knocked down, and I did it in about 15 minutes, including all the talking to the camera and that kind of stuff as I was going back and forth. So you can very quickly make a lot of quick work of these kinds of things. And like I said, this is just an implement that you want to keep in mind, is that the goal of this is not to give you a finished lawn-looking appearance. A lot of guys seem to want to do that, but in reality it's really made to knock stuff down, bust stuff up, and you're going to make a racket while you're doing it. So have fun out there making a mess and making some noise. I certainly did today. So if you have any tractor or equipment needs, parts, sales, or service, we're here to help. 800-222-3373 or online at Messick's.com.